Chapter 7, 5th Grade. For most of us, peaceful marriages don't just happen. We have to work hard at creating peace and learning what changes have to be made in order to bring an environment of peace into our relationships. Having peace is to possess a state of calm and tranquility, rest and positive influence, productivity and drive, purpose, and the pursuit of fulfilling your purpose with support from your spouse and household. A peaceful classroom is an atmosphere in which learning, impactful transitions, and development can blossom, free of disturbances and distractions. 5th grade is not typically a peaceful time for many students or the teachers struggling to remain in control of their classrooms. If the 5th grade classrooms of my experiences are a reflection of your relationship and the communication roadblocks you may encounter, you are not alone. The bright side of 5th grade is that all successful and long-lasting marriages have had a 5th grade experience. Those plagued by the 5th grade experience that choose to learn, grow, and become better at marriage and the challenges it presents have strong, unbreakable bonds. Just like 5th graders struggling to avoid classroom drama and the many social distractions that arise in this last year of elementary school, married people can find themselves in an arrested development, struggling to progress from the elementary stages into junior high relationship principles. So why is 5th grade such a difficult time in the lives of so many aspiring elementary school students? A principle of life involving promotion and advancement is that one must be tested and proven competent in order to advance. Being that 5th grade is the last grade before a student advances into a new stage of schooling with a different level of expectation and a new schooling structure, many tests are presented to challenge a young person and uncover what weaknesses may exist. Among the many challenges a teacher may face instructing 5th graders, many teachers agree that if they could maintain peace, calm, and quiet in the classroom, learning and the rate of success and advancement would increase exorbitantly. The main plot of the entire school scene is to academically educate and train young citizens to grow into effective participants in the social order of a system. The teacher's job is to implement a specific plan focused on one subject of academia. The subplot continuously infiltrating the main plot of the education system is the human factor of dealing with emotional creatures that are discovering their place in the world. With a plethora of different personal challenges and family backgrounds, students are distracted and constantly challenging teachers to keep them focused and behaving appropriately for a learning environment. The excitement of being in the last year of the first phase of schooling and the anxiety of being going from the oldest and biggest kids on campus to becoming the youngest and smallest kids in junior high school only exacerbates the dramatic scene of a 5th grader's daily school interactions. Are you and your spouse stuck in 5th grade? Many 5th graders are focused on their social life more than the relationship they have with the teacher and their grades. Those students who balance their social life with their academic pursuits progress into junior high and high school seamlessly with ease and grace. The problem with placing priority on social interactions over schooling tells the teacher that the student does not carry the necessary level of respect for the teacher, themselves, or the maturity needed to be advanced. And this can keep a student in a constant struggle to maintain the requirements and grades needed to move on to the next grade level. Unlike the education system that many times passes undeserving students on to the next grade, real life and marriage will definitely hold you back from continuation on to junior high when you have not earned it. Earning progression in your marriage is showing through your actions that you are studying your spouse and constantly working to improve yourself to become the spouse they desire. This selfless pursuit of allowing yourself to improve allows the changes you want to see in your spouse take place. If you are still at the level of fighting for peace in your classroom of love, this chapter is for you. Let's compare ourselves to fifth graders to make this less complicated. Most fifth graders lack the judgment and discernment to filter their circle of friends according to their goals and aspirations. Having friends in their group that are entertained by the occasional quarrel of words or even inciting physical fights, the well-intentioned youth finds themselves in the principal's or the counselor's office more often than they'd care to admit. The students with a good grasp on their goals and having more stability at home are less likely to end up in the circle of chaos throughout the school year. The scary part of letting your relationship get out of hand is that chaos in your marriage opens the door to chaos in every area of your life and the life of your children, affecting work, school, and any opportunities to move into a higher level of your life's potential. It's important to grab the reins of your marriage and agree that together you will do whatever it takes to stay together and learn how to be happily married. The circle of friends that you both may have as individuals and as a couple is a key component to creating a successful marriage or completely destroying it. Are your friends on a path similar to your path in any way? Are your friends or associations safe to keep as advisors and supporters if they are anti-marriage, suspicious, and untrusting of new potential mates because of their own failed relationship experiences? The company you keep can cause a distraction and introduce unnecessary challenges to your marriage. Like many fifth graders who fail to progress to sixth grade, many marriages fall short of being long-lasting simply from the friends who have been kept. Like a student who ignores the negativity going on around them in order to excel, you must be willing to detach from people who aren't pouring in support, positive words, and energy into your marriage. It is never too late to change your scene, your influences, your surroundings, the places you hang out, and the company you keep. It's never too late to improve yourself. It's never too late to improve your marriage. Not by coincidence, highly successful people have small circles of friends. Extremely small circles. The students concerned with being popular are not focused on the things that truly add value to one's life. It is okay if you have to release everyone from your life for a season in order to focus on your marriage so that your next marriage report card can have better grades. You are half of a whole as a married partner. So whenever a reference is made to working on your marriage, it is synonymous with working on yourself. I have encountered too many spouses who think that only their other half needs counseling and that they are exempt from needing any counseling. I'll say that again. I have encountered too many spouses who think that only their other half needs counseling and that they are exempt from needing any counseling. If one of you needs counseling because your marriage is suffering, then both of you have to do counseling together. To address another statement people often make, you both need counseling together, regardless of the fact that a counselor may then consequently suggest separate or individual counseling. Denying that your marriage difficulties are half your fault will only intensify your problems and lengthen the time it takes for your relationship to grow into maturity. Don't blame your D in English on your English teacher or your C in gym class on your coach. Work on changing your performance and your level of focus in those areas of study. If you are the person who feels you do not need or want to see a counselor despite your spouse requesting it, first of all, let me commend you for even reading this book. Secondly, avoiding help and the opportunity to break through the walls that are stopping you from getting to a place of true contentment and peace in your life is only robbing you and the person you claim to love of living life to its fullest. If you are a person requesting marriage counseling, yet your spouse is avoiding it or denying they even need help, continue to work on changing you and using different peaceful and creative approaches to convince your spouse that you need them to attend and participate. Express to your spouse that you vowed to be there for each other in the dysfunction of life, sickness, as well as in the functional facets of life, health. In preschool and kindergarten, we are encouraged to use our imaginations. Imagining ourselves as successful and productive people full of energy and enthusiasm for life is a great way to use the gift of the mind's eye. Sight merely assesses what the present surroundings offer, but vision can mentally picture what can be, regardless of the current situation. Seemingly innocent culprits, our imaginations can wreak havoc in our marriages. Vain imaginations are thoughts, fantasies, worries, or other mental distractions that we focus on and embellish, which threaten the stability of our peace and act as a noose around the throat of your relationship. Vain imaginations are any thoughts that are negative and worrisome, falsehoods, unfounded suspicions, and thoughts of fantasy that are detrimental to your marriage and can introduce pornography, which is infidelity. Very common in marriage are the vain imaginations held as internal arguments one has with themselves, imagining what the other person might say or do, and the list of fruitless thought patterns we have goes on and on. Fifth graders are the kings and queens of vain imagination, and their internal dialogue only further complicates an already complex time in their life. I hate the double-minded, those acting from vain imagination, but I love your law. You are my hiding place and my shield. I hope in your word. Depart from me, you evildoers, vain imaginations, for I will keep the commandments of my God. Psalm 119, verses 113 through 115. Simply stated, a vain imagination is any thought or thought process that is not founded in the principles, commandments, and instructions of God. Casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5. As another version reads, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. 2 Corinthians 10:5. If your relationship is in an immature state, you can be exposed to and significantly affected by rumors and lies. Middle school is a breeding ground for dramatic scenes and climactic distractions caused by the murmuring lips of busybody students. Fifth graders are hopefully learning academically, while they are also learning how to relate to one another and fit into various social groups. You should be closer to your spouse than anyone else on the planet, and more concerned with the well-being of the relationship you have with them than any other person. If I haven't already made it clear through previous examples, the order of the home is to place priority on the married couple first, and then you both will be better at parenting, loving, and raising up great children. Do not let raising your children become a wedge between you and your spouse, because it is a counterproductive effort to focus on the child and ignore the spouse, and then expect that child to grow up and know the correct and healthy order of what a home should look like. Rumors and lies can come from groups you and your spouse socialize with, from family members, from your church friends, and the most detrimental of all, the lies can come from within yourself. If you can't trust your spouse against the things being told to you by the murmurings of others, you must go back to kindergarten and retake some tests. If there is enough room between you and your spouse to allow rumors and falsehoods in between you, then you two are not close enough. Lastly, the point I'd like to make on this subject is that trust is earned from a trustworthy and credible person. What establishes credibility is a person who walks out what they preach. When a person's words align with their actions, they can be trusted and taken at face value. Be the person you want to see in your spouse. If you are struggling with insecurities of any sort, you need to reaffirm yourself and your relationship as being bred by God with no mistakes. You are a perfect being that makes imperfect decisions, but allowing yourself to be defined by the poor decisions of your past will lower your self-confidence and bring adversity into your marriage. If you are struggling with poor self-confidence and discouragement, research and reread to yourself every scripture you can find that brings truth about who God created you to be, and walking in His truth will reveal to you your purpose and path. It is very difficult to be married to someone who is constantly moved by the rumors and lies that try to infiltrate your marriage. Be an encouraging spouse without malice, frustration, or sarcasm. Encourage your spouse with positive words of affirmation and actions they may need to see in order to know that you are truly in their corner. If you are associating with people who feed on lies, rumors, and gossip, your marriage will suffer until you get rid of the negativity and find wise associations to be around and learn from. Therefore, submit, adapt to God. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. Draw near to God and he will draw near to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. James 4:7-8. Do all things without murmurings and disputing, that ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God, without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom ye shine as lights in the world, holding forth the word of life, that I may rejoice in the day of Christ, that I have not run in vain, neither labored in vain. Philippians 2:14-16. Marriage is work. Hard labor and intensive care are needed to grow your relationship into a mature and positive experience. No one wants to labor in vain. None of us want to put years of work into a relationship just to get to a point where we give up. Laboring in vain is a sad waste of time. Spend your time focused on what truly matters and work hard at getting yourself to a point of maturity that reflects in your marriage and in your children. We hear that some among you are idle and disruptive. They are not busy, they are busybodies. Such people we command and urge in the Lord Jesus Christ to settle down and earn the food they eat. And as for you, brothers and sisters, never tire of doing what is good. Take special note of anyone who does not obey our instruction in this letter. Do not associate with them, in order that they may feel ashamed. Yet do not regard them as an enemy, but warn them as you would a fellow believer. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verses 11-13. Fifth grade boys and girls are both the quintessential drama kings and queens of the school, or they can be peaceful and productive, working toward maturing into the next levels of education and higher learning. What type of fifth grade student do you want to model after in your marriage? Have you passed fifth grade? Or do you need to enroll in summer school and tutoring sessions to prepare you for a successful experience in junior high? By the end of fifth grade, students and teachers should recognize the difference between function and dysfunction in the classroom in order to establish and maintain a peaceful environment that fosters learning. A responsible and mature fifth grader will distinguish between wise and unwise associations and be able to separate truth from lies while avoiding the murmuring gossipers that wreak havoc in the school. A peaceful and productive student is ready to move on to higher heights and achieve the impossible. Fractions are a mathematical subject studied in fifth grade. Fractions are a number that represent parts of a whole. Take your parts, your fractional strengths, and add them together with the parts, strengths of your spouse to make a great marriage, whole and 100% complete. Thank you for listening, and join me for 6th grade, Chapter 8.